Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into B vitamin supplements, specifically B12, cobalamin and B9 folate.
Right.
There are so many claims out there about active forms being better, but we need to ask, are they really more bioavailable? And, why does this tiny difference matter so much for, well, everything from your diet to your mental state?
Exactly. That's the mission today. We're digging into the actual research, looking past the marketing hype.
Way.
We want to see what happens after you take the supplement. Which form is genuinely converting into that useful active state inside your body, especially thinking about diet or maybe genetic factors.
It's about what works, not just what sounds fancy.
Precisely. Effectiveness.
Okay, let's kick off with B12 then. This is super important, especially if you're eating plant-based, right? Because, well, B12 isn't really found reliably in plants.
Not at all. And there was this fascinating study on Romanian vegans who were supplementing. It threw up a real paradox.
How so?
Well, the key was how they measured B12. They didn't just look at total levels, which can be misleading. They measured holotranscobalamin, holo-TC.
Holo-TC. That's the active B12, the stuff that's actually ready for your cells to use.
Exactly. It's the gold standard marker.
Right.
And the results, well, they went against the grain.
Yeah, I bet. We're always told to grab the expensive active forms.
Right. But the standard synthetic form, cyanocobalamin, that's cyansensibilia, it actually resulted in better active B12 status. The median holo-TC was around 150 units.
150. Okay, and what about methylcobalamin, the one marketed as ready to use?
Much lower. Its median holo-TC was only 78.5 units, so nearly half.
Wow. So that idea that methyl B12 is already active might be, well, misleading once it's actually absorbed.
It seems that way. Some research suggests the body might just cleave off that methyl group upon absorption anyway, so that perceived advantage, it might disappear. And maybe the stability or way cyanocobalamin gets absorbed actually makes it more efficient overall.
Interesting. And didn't the study also find something about how you take it, like frequency?
Yes, absolutely crucial. Taking it more often, like daily, really helped maintain higher holo-TC levels. And liquid or sublingual forms seem to perform best.
Good to know. But there's a warning here too, isn't there? About trying to get B12 from things like algae.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The vegans in the study who were relying on sources like algae or, kombucha, they had the lowest levels. Median holo-TC was just 29 units.
29. That's way below the deficiency line, which is what, 35?
Way below. It's a serious risk. You really can't rely on those sources. Proper supplementation is key.
Okay, so B12 is complex. Let's switch gears to B9, folate. How does that connect to mood, and where do genetics come in?
Right, so this brings us into the brain. The really important form here is L-Methylfolate.
L-Methylfolate?
Yeah, that's the biologically active form of B9, and critically, it's the only one that gets across the blood-brain barrier efficiently.
And it does what up there?
It's vital for making key neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, the mood regulators.
Ah, okay. But there's a catch for a lot of people in actually making that L-Methylfolate, right?
There is. It involves an enzyme called MTHFR. And there's a common genetic mutation affecting maybe up to 40% of people.
40%? That's huge.
It is. And this mutation can seriously reduce your ability by like 40 to 80% to convert the standard folic acid you get in fortified foods or basic supplements into that active L-Methylfolate.
So if you have that MTHFR gene variant, taking regular folic acid might not actually be boosting the folate levels in your brain effectively.
That seems to be the case, yes. Which is why researchers looked at using L-Methylfolate directly, especially for treatment-resistant depression, often alongside SSRIs.
Trying to sort of bypass that genetic bottleneck.
Exactly. And they found something really specific.
What was it?
Dose mattered a lot. Using L-Methylfolate as an add-on to SSRIs worked, but only at a high dose, 15 milligrams per day.
15? That sounds like a very high dose compared to a standard multivitamin.
It is. At 15 milligrams, the response rate nearly doubled compared to adding a placebo. About 32% responded versus 14%. But importantly, a lower dose of 7.5 milligrams, it didn't show a significant benefit.
So you needed that really high dose to push past the resistance, likely linked to that MTHFR issue.
It certainly looks that way. While standard folic acid is absolutely proven for things like preventing neural tube defects during pregnancy, if you're dealing with MTHFR limitations and need effects in the brain for mood, you might need that high dose of the already active form.
Okay, so let's pull this together. The lesson isn't as simple as active form equals better, like we saw with B12.
Not always, no. Methylcobalamin didn't outperform cyanocobalamin in that study.
But with folate, if you do have a known metabolic block like MTHFR, then giving a high dose of the form that bypasses it, like that 15 milligram L-Methylfolate, can be really effective.
Precisely. It's nuanced. It highlights that personalization is probably key. What works best really depends on the specific vitamin, the dose, how often you take it, and maybe deep down your own genetics.
So, the big takeaway for you listening, it's complicated, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? With maybe 40% of us having this MTHFR thing,
Right.
how many standard B-complex supplements might just be, well, not hitting the mark?
It's a valid point.
It really raises a provocative question. Should we maybe start thinking about genetic testing as like a standard step before picking out our daily vitamins? Something to think about.